we use the word love willy-nilly. That's a big word. There's a lot of responsibility on that word to mean a whole lot of different things.
The true in the relationship, you and I keep on having this discussion, is you don't want anything from the other person. And that the other person doesn't want anything from you. And then love is cultivated.
Meditation 101 is, it's okay that the mind wanders. You want to fight it. Don't fight it. It just does. That's fine. Just pray. Just notice it and bring it back. Same thing. The heart closes. And maybe that's fine. Just notice it and try to bring it back. $126.
126. And once again, we're kind of like already in the middle of this discussion. So now we have to like retrace our steps and go back.
Start over.
But I seem to have a thing about it that I'm having a hard time verbalizing. So I'm already in the sensitive, vulnerable mode right now. And so I don't know if where this is going to go at all. But okay, the premise is, well, I don't even know what to call this, but I will describe the dream that I just had, and it kind of it was a little shocking. It's shocking to the system because now I'm having to reevaluate the system. But I guess it is related to love. Maybe love. I thought it was related to love from my childhood, but now I don't know what it's related to, and that's what the discussion is. Maybe the deeper essence of love at its core. Maybe. If it's love, or whether or not this is love or not. So in the dream, I'm going to skip all the not unnecessary details. I see someone who needs help because they are injured like on the side of the road or whatever. And then I get distracted and I go to a man who I have a special connection with. And that special connection, I think, somehow is important, or I assigned value to it.
Do you think that special connection is love at this point?
No. I think this. So the special connection that I have with him is, I know, on a larger scale outside of Earth.
Okay.
Right? Unearthly type of a special connection. But I realize how important it is to have that on Earth. So there's that difference, right? Even though I'm on Earth and I'm having a 3-dimensional experience, because I can feel him etherically as a whole entity, and I can feel myself etherically as a whole entity connecting to him etherically, then I feel like it's a special connection, right? So there's that assignment. The reason why I say love is I thought, so going back, in my childhood, I want to say that is what I thought love was, kind of not realizing what it is, but now in retrospect looking back. But I think that's the word this discussion is going to go. What is the childhood inception of love, maybe, and what the love is, and then what love is not, and then what a special connection is and what a special connection is not. I guess this kind of comes into from the nonsensical terminology that exists out there in the world of soul contracts, or twin flames, or all of those things that we assign value to, but we want to try to assign larger than Earth value to. But so it could be that those terms could be used, but I'm not going to use those terms, but just to throw out there. So yeah. So then I go with him and I tell him that if he is going to know me, that he needs to know that I'm a spiritual person. So in that essence, I'm telling him the essence of me, this larger than Earth essence of me, right? Kind of trying to pipe that in. And then he proceeds to then want to have sex with me. And I use the F word in it to refer to it, which that's another discussion that we might pipe in, is right. So he doesn't recognize the sacred nature of our relationship, and he treats it a rudimentary, to me, at the bottomless level of pit of what, not love making is, or not a recognition of one being within the process of sex, but more on the, I guess I would just say the word, the fucking end of it, right? The difference between fucking someone and the difference between loving someone, and then the difference between having a sexual intercourse through the recognition of the wholeness within self, wholeness within the other, and then what that means.
Right.
And so, so I guess maybe in the way this will actually lead into sex a little bit, just because, how does sex play into love, right? And if is sex love, is sex is not love, and things like that. So anyway, because I see him not recognizing this relationship, and then he goes on and having sex with somebody else who happens to be all of a sudden in the room with us. I don't know where this person appeared from. It dawns on me, and this is the part that I think I get emotional about, that having a special connection with someone on a next level doesn't mean anything in this world. And then I walk away, and then I proceed to go back to what I was doing, which was trying to, help the guy who was hurt on the side of the road. And I see the whole thing as an unnecessary distraction of like, oh, look, how naive I was about the concept of specialness actually meaning something. And then going, oh, that was just a complete waste of time because I misunderstood the entire concept. And I think that's the key, is the misunderstanding of the entire concept of love, connection, specialness, sex versus fucking, the responsibility behind all of it, and the honoring of what all of it means if what you want out of it is actually something special.
Right.
So there's a lot, and you and I have already been talking about it, so we might have to repeat some of the things, but yeah, that's the premise of the dream.
Right. I mean, you said off the air that, you even in childhood had this idea that that the special connection is somehow tied with love. And I think I had that too.
Yeah. After we started talking, we thought, okay, well, what does this special connection mean?
Right.
And I think for some reason as a child, now that I felt this special connection, and I'm bringing it into earth, I thought that special connection meant love or soulmate, or I grew up in Ukraine. In Ukraine, I did not know word soulmate, right? So I didn't think that were soulmate almost means
you're destined.
Destined somebody, which I never thought you are destined to someone. Do you know what I mean?
Right. There's one person out there that you have to find or something.
Yeah. I don't believe in that.
No.
You can love the world and have a special connection with the world, except that the difference is here, the giving up of responsibility to nurture it, recognize it, and then behave in such a way that it is honored and then propagated, as opposed to discarded for the point of fucking. Because fucking there is metaphorical representation of discarding of the specialness.
Right. It's not respecting it and honoring it.
Yeah, it's behaving nonsensically to me. That is completely not in recognition of what the connection actually was.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, say your thing, because I guess the second I started telling you about my dream, you got triggered because of your song.
There's a song that samples a song by Apoptygma Berserk, which samples a clip of dialogue from, I think it's Twin Peaks, which I've never seen this episode. But in it, there's two people, and the first guy goes, your name, please, and the second guy goes, Garland, Briggs Garland. And then the first guy goes, and what do you fear most in the world? And the second guy goes, the possibility that love is not enough. And so your thing reminded me of that. And because it's I heard that as a teenager, probably, that song. And it always hit me is love enough? And I think throughout my life, I would have bounced back and forth between saying yes and saying no. And I don't even know where I would land right now.
Yeah, but
I don't even know if the question makes sense right now.
yeah, is love enough doesn't make sense because, you and I have spent last like 2 years unraveling our definition of love.
Right. That's the thing, is that my idea of love when I was 5, 10, 15, 20, 20, I'm meeting you. And then, 20, 30, 40. Now at 45, it is wildly different and it's changed throughout that, right? When I'm young, love equals, feeling someone making me feel safe in some sense. And then it turns into, well, love is, if I get attention, that's love. And then, I, I don't know. It's meant a whole lot of things over the years. And, in the way that, like, I think the Inuits have like 100 different words for snow or ice or something. It's like, oh, there's this snow and there's that snow and there's this ice and there's that ice and they're all different. And we just wrap that up in snow and ice. We just have this word love, which means a whole lot of things. I love you. I love pizza. I love my dog. I love my kids. I love the camera, or love, it's like, well, some of these are not love. Some of these are like, my uncle, this was, I don't know, in the 90s, probably. There was some car that I don't even remember what car it was. And I said, I love that car. And he goes, you shouldn't love a car. You can like a car, but you shouldn't love a car. And,
That's Uncle Rob.
Yeah, you could tell he's wise.
Very wise.
And it's like, there is this, we use the word love willy-nilly in, here, at least, Western society, America, English, at least. And it's like, oh, that's a big word. There's a lot of responsibility on that word to mean a whole lot of different things. I love that tile. I love that paint color. It's like, you may really like it. You may enjoy it. You may be infatuated with it. You may, I don't know.
Use it.
You might use it.
Abuse it.
Abuse it. You may want to have the paint color, but you may want to have sex with whoever it is. Is that love? Not necessarily. That in and of itself is not love. Love is something above and beyond that, which is, I don't even know how to qualify or define it. I mean, other than, it's a feeling, yes, but then again, so are a lot of the other things I mentioned. So that doesn't help. I'm not here to try to define love. But other than, that your story reminded me of that dialogue, in as much as, like, the connection wasn't enough. The connection itself wasn't enough.
Yeah.
It requires people on both ends of that connection to have some responsibility to honor it and nurture it, cultivate it, and not kind of disrespect it.
Yeah, there's just, disrespect. And then, like, I think on earth, the reason why that whole thing made me sad is because it's also not even misuse it, but purposely abuse it. Right. Right. Like, so this is interesting because, like, we were contemplating a different topic because I was having such a hard time climbing out of this one, we went there. But at the core, the essence of us that we interpret on the larger scale is just so immense, right? Like, the energetic existence that is us is like bigger than life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you tune in, if you discard all the human definitions of love they're actually there as tools not to feel your trauma and pain body, which is what, right? Like, to begin with, when we first started recording, and this actually, when I even started channeling this, like you kind of channel the things that you need to grow in, that you need to gain understanding in, or you need to gain perspective on. And a lot of stuff that I started channeling right off when I first started channeling, that I didn't even know, what was happening, was about love, like that love, right? And when the higher essence of us speaks of love, they speak of, I would say, special love, right? Like that special essence, like larger than life essence of love. And if you take that and you feel it, right? Like because I was channeling it for so long, and then I channeled the whole book, and all through the book, right? And all through all my channelings and all the writings that we posted on the website back then, I am sitting and I'm like bathed in the most unlimited frequency of love, right? And that love does not have definitions. Like, it is not like undefinable. It's just the isness, like pure isness, right? And it has everything in it. Like, it has all the nuance and all the little possibilities, but it's just whole without any missing chunks, right? There's nothing missing. And then I would come in and I would lower my frequency back down into 3-dimensionality and hear word love, or use word love. And I realized, oh my gosh, it is complete disservice. And I almost think now that I kind of went on this militant quest to drop off all the foreign definitions of love and revert back to the actual essence of what it was meant to be, as opposed to what we have corrupted it to be so on earth.
Right.
And to some extent, I'm still on that mission, maybe not as militant about it. Yes. And so, to bring back, like, feeling safe, someone making you feel safe, even though it is kindness and it is compassion and it comes into the wholeness of a human being, but on interpretive scale, that does not define love, right? Or like feeling someone paying attention to you, right? This is kind of touching on the 5 love languages again, that I will not get too militant about it. But all of those things are there as interpreted love of interconnectedness with one another, that you could see how it's just human behavior recognizing the essence of beauty of you coming from the essence of beauty of itself. And then that it's an interactive play between the two. But those terms within themselves do not represent love by any means.
Right. No, the 5 love languages is, I think, would be better titled the 5 like languages. Because it's like, getting gifts, it's nice, I guess, but it doesn't do anything for me. Right.
Yeah.
But like spending time together, okay, that's closer to doing something for me.
Yeah, but when you tune into wholeness, though.
But that would be because this stuff, getting stuff doesn't fill the hole that would be filled by getting time and attention. That's where that would come from. So it's not even the 5 like languages, the 5 help me appease my pain body languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that is not love.
Not love.
That's not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And so what I would say, going back to this dream and analyzing like my devastation of when I woke up, I think as a child, I thought that feeling that special connection that is larger than life, larger than earth, right? And it's interesting because like I think as a child, I remembered it for a very, very long time. I don't know when exactly it disappeared, but I remembered like the essence of wholeness that we all come in here with for a very, very long time. Like I know that is a frequency that somebody holds. And if you hold that frequency, everything on earth falls into definitions of love. But without that frequency, everything is not love. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so when I was looking, or my idea of like, I saw, I guess, I don't know how many Russian movies I saw where there's love, but like Russian love is very, Russian love movies are very nuanced. Like when like the Russians or Soviet people they do a movie, because movie was just such a extensive budgetary investment, like the amount of time and perfection and thought.
You want to have a good script.
Yeah, like a lot of went in, and the way it was shot and the way it was presented, there's like the nuances were so planned out.
So they're not making Sharknado 3.
Yeah, there was no Sharknadoes being invented, right? Because like movies meant something, right? Like if you're going to spend, I don't know, however many thousands they spent back, this is in the 80s, I'm watching this, and I'm watching them from the 70s and 60s as well. Like they're right, like back then, think about this, Casablanca and Gone with the Wind and what's the one with Rosebud? Citizen Kane, right? And North by Northwest, right? Like that is the era of movies that I'm comparing to back in Ukraine. You were exploring
proper classics.
Yeah, well, they're classics.
Because
the movies were so sparse.
Masterpieces.
Yeah, they're masterpieces because people took time to craft a message into a story, and you can spend lifetime dissecting Citizen Kane. The whole point of Citizen Kane is that, we watched it because Aiden was dissecting it from for his school, but we have never seen it before that. And it's based on the real life person.
Allegedly.
Right. And so it is a masterpiece, and there's so much to dissect. Like the meaning of love, where we get lost in life. What is it that we do regardless of our status quo of political standing or budgetary standing, with being when we're lost?
The interplay of money and power and love and all that, and
search for meaning, search for love, search for
peace and happiness.
Yeah, right. Like that's when Russian movies were coming out, and I was watching Russian movies. Love was that deep. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like a real conversation, not like a Sharknado conversation, right? Yeah, and so my childhood inception of love, because I felt the frequency of larger essence of it, thought that the meaning of love would have that larger than life frequency within your partner, right? And then the recognition of the specialness of their essence, together with the recognition of specialness of your essence, would then facilitate, I don't know, like rainbows and butterflies, maybe fireworks. But I'm solely talking about childhood interpretation of love right now.
I mean, there's this
naive.
The whole idea of like Hollywood romance is, I guess, kind of how I thought it was too. Like, I mean, it doesn't even have to be a romantic movie. We just watched Good Will Hunting, and he falls in Matt Damon's character falls in love with Minnie Driver's character, and she falls in love with him, and they have a connection, right? They have a special connection, and they seem to really like each other. And it goes on, and he's it turns out that he's not, he hasn't figured his stuff up, his own stuff out enough to
recognize love,
commit to it, maybe give up what what is comfortable, but is clearly not in his own best interest. His status quo is, not great, but he's stuck in it, right?
Yeah.
But in the end, he I guess, gets it figured out. Or I don't know, like we watched Notting Hill not too long ago, and it's like, okay, he likes her, she likes him, but like he can't really admit it to her, and but she's at a different societal level, so she can't really admit it to him, and then they dance around it a whole lot of romantic comedy around how how this will never work or whatever, I don't know, but then she has enough I don't know what chutzpah to give her the line from the movie where she's I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy. Line.
Yeah, at which he rejects her and then she leaves.
Right. But then he, realizes, because it's the same thing. He's, unable to commit or to realize that it's the same thing as Good Will Hunting, right?
Yeah, well, because the Hollywood portrays all the ways that we're afraid to have our heart broken if we're vulnerable.
Right. It is a defense mechanism, of course, right? Because if we reject them, then they can't reject us. Because as much as it hurts to reject them, it hurts more to be rejected. And so if we can eliminate that possibility, then we have protected ourselves, built this little wall to protect ourselves.
Yeah. No, but our entire interpretation of love sits at the baseline where we cannot be vulnerable enough with ourselves, much less someone who we might have a connection with, to actually allow the true love to flow.
Right.
So the heart is closed because we're afraid of being hurt and or not being loved or not being enough. And then whatever the fear is around love, really the fear is around life. Like the extension of fear that you fear in life would just carry into the fear of love.
Right. Personally, like for almost all of my life, we talked about it on the last podcast, I think. It wasn't like split personality, but I would actively act in a different way in different scenarios in order to play the part that I thought best suited that circumstance or that those people or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but then you're like coming into a relationship, building a relationship as a fake persona.
I'm sure I did it with you. I think it was the closest to the real me, but that was the only thing I did. I didn't even know who I was. I was this chameleon adapting to whatever situation I was in order to make it to craft that situation to work out in the best way that I thought it could, whatever that meant. Usually that meant get everybody to like me. Yeah. That's usually what it meant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, what's interesting is that can like diverge. And it's like, well, if I behave this way with group A and this way with group B, but God, if group B saw me with group A or group A saw me with group B, the worlds would collide.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's all like that fake gameplay that we put on. I would say because that fake gameplay is actually not ourselves, true essence of ourselves being us. Mm-hmm. We don't even have an opportunity to build a relationship with someone if we are not even behaving as ourselves.
Right. We don't even. we don't even have the proper relationship with ourselves. Like
Yeah.
I didn't even know who I was. I don't even know if I know who I am now, but I really didn't know back then.
Yeah. It's interesting because you use the word chameleon. And I know I've told you this before, but like obviously it rung a bell just now. When I was in my early teens, there was a boy, and now I'm looking back, I'm like, I wonder if I liked him because we just watched that movie with the movie Atonement,
Oh yeah, yeah.
right? And the little girl in there liked he was a grown man, I guess.
Young adult, yeah.
A young adult, sure, but she was very
But
little.
yeah, she was
Yeah.
12.
Yeah. But like little girls, have these fantasizing likes of
Sure.
of older
A crush.
Yeah, sure, a crush. I don't know if boys have crushes on older girls and they think they like them and love them and
Yeah,
whatnot.
probably.
Okay, so maybe this was a crush that I had as a kid, and the guy, I don't know if he was my crush, maybe, but he was at least 5 years older than me, maybe 4, maybe 6. I don't know. I have no idea. Just older, right? And the crush was not like physical or anything like that. But at some point, I remember talking to him, and he was a complete asshole to me in front of his friends. Not that he was nice to me in a special way, but he was just a complete asshole to me. Like, and when he was around his grown up, like he treated me as like a nobody kid, as opposed to just like regularly how he treated me. If it was just him and his siblings and us hanging around, do you know what I mean? Like almost like rude and bullying and disrespectful and things like that. And I was so angry about the way he treated me. And I don't know how young I was, but I remember yelling at him that you're just a chameleon. And that was the word that I used. Basically adjusting your behaviors to what you described, was to be liked by this group of people. Therefore, I will treat like my family members, because he also would treat his own, like this is the brother of the 2 kids that I would hang with. And he would just bully all 3 of us. When he was with his older friends, because it was cool to bully your younger siblings, and mistreat them and shit like that. And I was just like appalled by how somebody would switch how they treat somebody based on all of a sudden this new persona that they need to be, because
we know someone who did that with Aiden.
Yeah, right. So to me, the essence of that instilled in me as a child that humanity cannot be trusted, because humanity switches their skin depending on the gain that they want to gain out of a situation.
Yeah.
And like that set in so easy. Like I didn't understand that concept that you would change who you are.
Yeah, and I didn't understand any other way.
Yeah, it was so crazy.
Yeah.
That was such a shocker for me to realize that like the idea of lying about who you are is an option.
See, I didn't even view it as lying about who I am. I viewed it as almost this
no, survival mechanism.
It's a survival mechanism, but it was like a necessary. Game is the wrong word, but game is close, because it's like it was active and deliberate. It was not, there was thought, there was, what's the word? Manipulation, but there's a word here. It was very deliberate.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know that was a game people played until I realized that was a game people played, and it was so hurtful and painful to realize that is what humanity does.
Once I realized that is that I don't have to play that game, that there's a maturity that I had to achieve in order to get there, because it's like, if I have to behave in ways that are not really okay with me in the first place in order to fit in with this group, why do I want to fit in with that group in the first place? It doesn't, what? Right?
Yeah.
There was, back when I was at my, I guess, first real job, there was this group of us that would go out every Friday to Hooters, right? And I don't know, it was like 4 or 5 of us, and there were one of them at least. I mean, we'd just be driving down the road, and he'd be hooting and hollering at all the ladies crossing the street. I mean, the windows are up, so they didn't hear it, but wow, it was just a lot. It was like I don't know. You see some movie and there's some, real asshole type character who's just making all these inappropriate comments. It's that level of stuff. And I'm in the backseat of this, and everyone in the car is laughing because it's it's so. I don't even know why they're laughing. I was laughing because it was so insane, the level of commentary coming out of this guy. But I'm like, never did I actually think this is okay. This is like, it was so far out of line. But I'm in this group, and this group seems to accept me, so I'm going to play along. And I'm not going to say, that isn't cool. I'm not going to say that. I'm not
But
gonna
you're
rock
also
the boat.
driving to Hooters.
We're also driving to Hooters too, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. But just realizing
He's getting into the character for the drive, for the arrival.
Maybe. I mean, maybe that was a game to him too. I don't know.
Well,
maybe
it's just a character. That was a character.
Was
like
his
on
character.
Fridays, we go to Hooters and I become this misogynistic man.
Maybe.
And like that part of me flies open.
Maybe.
But that's the chameleon nature
right. And
coming
I mean,
out.
does he genuinely believe it? Is he putting on a big show for us?
Well, you said you
we
later,
all get
at some point,
entertained.
you swung by his house and you met his wife, and he was talking to his wife. Remember that? You told me that.
And it was a completely different person. He was very calm, very respectful, very, whatever.
And the third person in the office space. Like, so you experienced him in 3 different forms.
Right. And so yeah, he was doing it too. But realizing you don't have to do that, and you can just be you. And if people like you, great. And if people don't like you, great. It doesn't really matter in the end. There is no possible way to please all 8 billion people on Earth. Isn't going to happen. There will be people who just don't like you just because of your face, whatever. It doesn't matter. There will be people who don't like you. If you can be okay with that, because that is a fact, that is reality. If you can accept that reality, then it's just, okay, there's one person that doesn't like me. There's 5 people that don't like me. There's 8 billion minus 1 that don't like me. It doesn't really matter. It isn't a reflection on me, more importantly.
No, but not being liked is a reflection of you being insecure about who you actually are yourself, and you think you need to be something else in order to be liked.
Right.
So,
I took it as, that's what I mean, is I took it as a reflection of me. If people like me, then I can like myself. Then maybe I'm okay after all.
Yeah, but the truth is, you don't even like yourself, because you being you is not an option.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's deep, because it's like, I can't be myself, because
all the time for everybody, the same you.
Yeah.
Is not an option.
Yeah. Right.
Just you. Not having to alter because you need to be liked here, or not changing your personality there. Just you being you.
Right.
That's just unacceptance of you.
Right. And that's plagued me my whole life.
Yeah. But that, what I want to say is that is the type of surface dwelling situation that has the entire nation of humanity completely shut off from any possibility of reaching this love that is the wholeness, and experiencing the love that everybody seems to be looking for, is because we cannot even allow ourselves to accept ourselves.
Right.
And then through that acceptance, then start to gauge and see the possibilities of something special coming into our life, or seeing something special and then giving it space from our heart, like saying, oh, look, this is special and I feel it and I see it. Therefore, my heart is open into the specialness, and I will do the due diligence necessary to honor it, work at it, recognize it, and behave out of this open space of heart, as opposed to the nonsense that I have provided to the world all of my life. Right? Like this specialness, right? When my relationship with this human being was special, even though he might have recognized it and I knew it, his behavior did not bring itself up into the recognition of frequency where three-dimensional nonsense of lies and a pointless behavior needed to be rethought in order to facilitate specialness in life. And in this case, let's say towards this relationship, but I'm saying towards anything, towards your job, towards your hobbies, towards your relationship with your children, towards your relationship with your friends, right? The special nature, the love, the essence of really what everybody deep down wants, right? Like if we say, oh, what do we want? We want that real thing. We don't want the surface dwelling nonsense.
Yeah.
But we cannot even recognize the real thing, much less nurture it and honor it and then be responsible for keeping it alive if we don't even see it. And then two, are refusing to get past ourselves in order to reach it and hold it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Right. I mean, we're in the way of ourselves.
Because you're not accepting who you are.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
You're spending so much time playing games of elsewhere that you're not even in the right proximity. Even if you're in the right proximity to experience any kind of specialness, you're definitely not in the right mindset to be able to hold it and propagate it. Right? Like the specialness, if it's not recognized, does not remain.
Yeah. Right.
Like
that's the nurturing of it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, nurturing is one, recognizing it that it's there, and two, having the forethought and then the determination behind personal action to allow it to grow and be what it's meant to be, as opposed to corrupting it. Mm-hmm. And we actually corrupt it. Like we have endless possibilities of this specialness and this higher than life being and this overabundant frequency that is love towards all kinds of things in our life.
Right. The potential's there. And it's not even that it's hard to reach this potential. It's that we're so good at covering it up with nonsense and, fear.
Covering it up, or I would say sometimes purposely corrupting it because we don't actually want it. Right? Like when people say, oh, I want love and I want special love and all this and all this and all that, but deep down they don't think they deserve it, or deep down they don't think they're worthy of it.
Or that's what I mean by fear, is that,
you push the specialness away.
We push it away because,
like, Goodwill Hunting is that
exactly,
example. Yeah.
Right. Because status quo is safer, or we don't want to be rejected, or any number of self-defense mechanisms because we all think that having our heart broken is the worst possible thing in the world. And there's possibly worse than death. So we'll do anything we can to build this wall around our heart. When I believe, in fact, that is doing so much damage to ourselves that,
Well, but think about this. if you rise above it on the like journey of life, if you actually reach it, then from the earth standpoint, what are you left to chase?
Like the game.
The game is gone, right? So the reason why people do not receive love, keep love, and have that specialness is because in the long run, they want to participate in the game. And in this case, right, fucking somebody is just a game. So moving on to fucking somebody and the next fucking somebody and the next fucking somebody is a more fun game because you want to continue to play the game of chase and release and chase and release instead of committing into one nurturing space that is the expanded nature of truth.
Right.
Right.
No,
the experience of earth is chosen on purpose to be lesser than the recognition of beyond earth specialness.
Right. And the game is fun. The game's entertaining. The game's challenging and complex. And, I get the draw of the game. At the same time, like I had a meditation a while ago where it was given to me that like, just try to keep your heart open as much as you can. Just, like try to just keep that in your mind that, the default state of at least me and probably everyone is just to keep closing it up. It's like, nope. I try to do that. What am I doing? No. Okay. Like that. And, I forget, I get distracted, whatever. Yeah. But whenever I remember it, I'm like, okay, there I go again. It's like, when you're meditating and your mind starts to wonder and you're like, oh, I gotta pay the bills and I gotta, did I close the garage door? I don't know. And you're like, no, wait a minute. This is meditation time. Empty, inner peace. Wait, are they staying after school today? It's just, the mind wanders. It just does. And that's fine. I mean, that's kind of like the meditation 101 is it's okay that the mind wanders. You want to fight it. Don't fight it. It just does. That's fine. Just pray. Just notice it and bring it back. Same thing. The heart closes. And maybe that's fine. Just notice it and try to bring it back.
Yeah, but if the heart is closing, then that is a great tool to recognize that there's a fear point coming in that is causing it to close.
I mean, that's true. That's closing well, I'm sure it's closing for a reason.
It's closing because it's afraid. So
right.
That means there's a stimuli coming into the system that you treated as like a gate, like a warning bell. Like, in the castles, they have like those watchers out on the whatever the spires. I don't know castle terms, but whatever.
An air raid siren?
No.
In modern terms?
Sure, but like they have the horn people or the fire people. They're like when they see the enemy coming, like it's the advanced warning horn, and then like then instead of telephoning down there, close the gate. They send the horn out, and then the horn, they close the gates. Do you know what I mean? So, right, but do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So the heart. If the goal is for the heart to stay open, the heart stays open. A stimuli comes into the system. Right, nervous system that you have programmed your system to find dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the system finds it dangerous, like it's like a precursor, like you almost like it's like this happens. Guess what? What's the outcome? Heart closed. So like the horn person sounds out the horn because it's coming. Like you see the pattern. You have pre-built to recognize the pattern. Okay, this happens. Guess what? I get hurt. It hurts. I want to cry, and curl up in a little ball and cry. And in order for you not to feel that much pain, so you don't have to curl up into a little ball and cry, the warning system sounds the horn, and the nervous system just shuts off the entire being, and then you have armor, right? You're armored up. The gates are closed.
Right.
The moat is
Drawbridge.
The drawbridge is drawn, and that is the essence of humanity, of how we function, because we have these pre-programmed circuits of fear of how we're going to be let down, and instead of allowing ourselves to stay open heart, we have no chance unless we recognize all these points of fear that never, like, the truth is, never even let anybody even close to the proximity of us, because the moat is there, much less the center of the heart. Like, by default, that is not even an option for us to let someone in, because not only the heart is armored in, it's like somewhere in the armory locked up behind all kinds of doors and chests. There's like the castle, and then there's the gate, and then there's the bridge, and then there's the moat. And there are so many defense layers that we have set up that we don't even realize that the heart is just completely, under the chastity belt, lock and key type of a situation. Do you know what I mean? It's layers and layers deep. And like, the truth is, if we pause and realistically think, when was the last time we were so vulnerable that we felt our heart pounding through us into, past our castle walls? I mean, most of us, there's no way we could say, I don't know, like right now.
Right.
So therefore, and this is not a discouraging thing. This is kind of like the truth that no one wants to recognize. How can you ever find love, true love, or experience true love, or feel any essence of specialness, and then recognize it, because you have to feel it to recognize it, and then have a chance at building that specialness out and like facilitating and growing it, if you don't even realize that you have your heart completely closed?
Right. I mean, right. Having your heart open is like the most vulnerable thing you can do.
But that's the precursor for you to even recognize the specialness that you have in front of you.
Right. Exactly.
Right? They're like, we can't recognize love. You can't build love if you're moated up, layers in.
Right. It's this. I mean, it's so interesting that, and like, we've been watching a lot of history type stuff lately, and it's like, this is not a modern construct. This goes back as far as recorded history goes. This idea of like, we have to protect ourselves. We have to keep the bad guy, the enemies out. We're us and they're them, and we don't like them, and they're going to attack. We're afraid they're going to attack us, so we need to keep them out, or maybe even attack them first. I need to get my revenge in advance. But it applies at this personal level too, right?
Our life is just an extension of everything we're denying on the inside. Right.
We take how we feel, and then we build society as a mirror of that.
Yeah.
And so, we feel, the castles and the fortresses and the moats and the multi-levels of whatever, and the wars and battles and treacheries are mirrors of how we feel inside.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, think about this. You cannot evaluate a relationship with like yourself, or like your spouse, or yourself, or your kids, or your friends, or your parents, or your community, or your city, or like your country versus a different country, if you can't even recognize who you are. Like, if you're denying yourself your truth and refusing to see yourself as yourself, then the relationship by default you're having with everybody else is false, Because you are starting your relationship with yourself from falsehood.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's not a shot, because like it feels really big. Like that statement is huge.
Right.
Because I'm saying that all of your relationship are false and fake and lies. But they are, if you are living in falsehood and lies and pretense with yourself.
Yes. I agree with that.
So like the essence of love, like that overwhelming, overabundant love, like that frequency of specialness and like interpretation of being beyond earth, right? Like what I'm referencing to from my dream is irrelevant if we don't allow that truth to exist.
Right.
And by shutting ourselves off from our own self, from our own truth, we're shutting ourselves off from that specialness.
It's almost wasted. The specialness is
wasted on us. Yes,
wasted on us. If
yeah, you want to fuck it
because we're not in a position. We're not in a position to. I want to use it's the wrong word, to apply it to.
No, we want to fuck it, but when I say word fuck it, I mean like we want to fuck it, like go just like literally say fuck it, not like dismiss it as a fuck.
Yeah.
Right. Do you know what I mean? Like I know in my dream it was interpreted as fuck is sex, but like, you know, like in America there's the expression, oh fuck it, like whatever. It's the whatever.
Yeah.
Like special comes and we go, oh whatever. Because we can't even recognize ourselves. I'm not saying you have to recognize yourself as special, to simply just start to recognize yourself as truth. And like we don't.
No, I don't think up until recently I didn't even know that I wasn't, is the thing. I didn't know that there was any other way to be. Which is,
it's a very human condition.
So it's like, did I know something was wrong? Probably at some fundamental level. Could I have even begun to articulate what is wrong? No, I don't think I could.
I'll remember how many conversations you and I have. I'm like, what you feel is not love. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? I just love you. And I'm like, this is not love. And like, and after we, like Chaos, remember the show Chaos that we watched? Mm-hmm. It unfortunately didn't get renewed, but like it had a story of the Greek
Orpheus
and whatever her name is. I don't actually know if that's a true Greek tale or not, but like Greek tales teach these larger, like deep-rooted truth and untruth about humanity, and they shine this light. So the show tried to kind of do that on all kinds of levels. So I think probably the reason why it didn't get renewed is because it shined so much truth on reality. They made people feel really uncomfortable. And the people above who are controlling the narrative to make sure that this truth is not visible, like going, oh, you cannot have a second season of this.
I thought it was a great show.
No, it's a great show.
I was super excited for season 2. But
I would say it was so truthful on this meta level, like of setup of structures, of mind structures to keep things at bay. That probably like it was the black box, the Stalin's black box. You know what I mean? He would have unraveled things too much if people started thinking too much.
Right.
Yeah. But why was I saying this? Oh yeah, right. He was addicted to her as his muse, and he thought that was love.
Yeah.
Right. And she's like, "This is not love," and
yeah, she felt smothered by it.
Well, but it was just not love, right? It was like codependence and addiction, quite literally, because he was like, yeah, codependent, addicted to her in order to make it, right? Like she was his drug. But treating somebody as your drug is just fucking it, right? Any specialness that relationship could have had is ripped away and burned off in the nonsense of not seeing through the truth of what you're delivering and wanting out of a relationship, right? Like the true in the relationship, and I think you and I keep on having this discussion, is you don't want anything from the other person. And the other person doesn't want anything from you. And then love is cultivated.
Right.
Which is like impossible to comprehend.
Right. It's hard to wrap your mind around that. Right.
Yeah. That is where love exists. Like the love, that special love that is the essence of existence.
Right.
Is I don't want anything from you and you don't want anything from me. And then what I bring to the table and what you bring to the table,
it's pure at that point.
Is pure. And the cross section of it can have the essence come in of what that relationship is.
Right. There's no,
and it's like,
it's not loaded. There's nothing,
it's not convoluted. It's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
Like it's not covered, like the essence. So the way the universe works is the possibility of that specialness, that special connection, that like larger than life feeling that we thought in our childhood would be love, is actually the essence of like reality. Like this moment is that moment, and this moment is that moment, and like your relationship with your spouse is that moment. Your relationship with your children is that moment. Like everything in life is actually that moment. It is extremely beautiful. Except that when we choose to take on a set of lies because we think that those set of lies will protect us because of we fear the world, right? We basically go, show us limited reality. Like let's limit our reality because we need to box it off from the truth, right? And that moment of abundance and love and like that specialness, like over the top, overflowing love can't pass that gate, because the message that you're sending is, don't give me that because I need to be protected because there's all of these threats. So you're not creating it, you're actually shutting it off. Like the castle metaphor goes back in. You have like lock your heart under the lock and key and some magic chest and some magic room that no one has access to. And then you have, the door to the chamber, and then you have another door to the castle itself, and then you have another door into the fence around it, and then you have the bridge, and then you have the moat, and then you have, the runners who are out there watching and, going to sound their horn. But there's no chance for the essence of light, that is that specialness and love, to even be seen, because you have guarded yourself off and living a lie because of it. In order for you to justify and propagate the guarding off, you have to propagate all the lies that you told yourself in order to justify this many layers of guarding.
Right. I mean, at some level, once you've built this fortress, you feel a little invested in the fortress.
Because it has kept you safe so far. You think it has kept you safe.
Kept you safe, right? Because you know how you feel, and it's probably not great, but you can imagine how bad you would have felt if your heart got broken or whatever. And that's, that nebulous flaming question mark is always worse than whatever actual experience you've had.
Yeah, but think about this. In love, having your heart broken is not about love having your heart broken. Love is just, in your case, if you're not processing your deep emotional rooted trauma, in your case, having your heart broken is just a justification on your end that you're once again unlovable and bad.
For me specifically, yes.
Yeah, but that is not an adult observation on having your heart broken. That is still a child not acknowledging the pain that it feels.
Right.
That's the lie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's what I mean, is that it feels like the protection that you're building is worth it, because the downside to not doing that is so bad. Is it really? No, I don't think it is. But it feels like it would be so bad. So I built this fortress and that's made me safe so far. I'm really invested in this. It's a really nice fortress. Got a lot of walls, got the archers up there, all that stuff. Probably keep it.
Yeah, because deep down, the child at his core is afraid of being unsafe and vulnerable.
Right. As you get older and smarter, you get to enhance your fortress. You get to learn new things that like, ooh, I can do this or that, and that'll protect me more.
Yeah, but the child, the new layers of the fortress,
that just further separates you from yourself, though.
It further separates you from the truth, which is there's only one truth for all 8 billion of humans, is you're afraid to be vulnerable because it makes you feel unsafe. Like, it's not a complicated story on Earth. Like, the story is just one story.
Yeah.
And everybody has their little special story of how that's the case. But that's the case. Is you're afraid to be vulnerable because it's unsafe. And then unsafety feels earth-shattering, larger than life, devastatingly scary. That's the one truth for everybody. And then from that narrative, you design your life. Like, am I building my fortress out of limestone and I build my fortress out of white marble? Or is my fortress has moats, or does the moat have sharks in it? Or, I don't know. Do I have archers, or do I
sharks?
Or, well, we were already on the topic of sharks. Or do we light the arrows when we shoot, or do we light the fire to the arrows when we shoot them? Like, the details of how you go about protecting yourself is a very specialized experience of a human nature. And that's the fun part that everybody wants to participate on Earth is, how do I participate in a world of lesser than, because I have to protect myself, because God forbid I am vulnerable 100% of the time, and actually open my heart and live from that space.
It's interesting that all of our analogies are like medieval. It's not like, I don't know what a modern day fort looks like, some sort of concrete underground bunker or something. It's not that. It's
like all, or just today's.
Well, I mean, when I pictured it before we got into it, I'm like, I pictured it as, like a castle, like a,
it represents
traditional medieval European style thing.
Yeah.
Right? With archers. There's not snipers up there. They're archers. There's not, a minefield. There's a moat.
Yeah, but think about the concept of protecting your heart from vulnerability feels kind of medieval. It's archaic.
It does. Archaic. Yeah.
Yeah, like it has. I think
outmoded,
the truth is,
but
yeah, I think it has run its course, and castles no longer are necessary. Right? We can start going to open plains of prairies and flowers and butterflies, and allowing our heart to stay open. Right? We don't have to build walls upon walls upon walls. Like, I think that's what the representation of a castle used to be, is how many layers of protection can I have to keep myself safe from the outside world in order to have my child not be vulnerable and crying, and have it be visible to the world. Right? Protection, protection, protection. Right? That's castle kind of represents the essence of that.
Yeah.
Kind of sad.
Right.
No, so in my dream, I woke up today and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I think I already knew all of this, but having highlighted to me in the dream as like a recap of all of this knowing was such a devastating, in your face truth scenario. And it brought me all the way back to the childhood trauma of when I recognized when the specialness on Earth will never equate to recognition of true love. And like, right. Yeah. And in this case, right, in this dream, like, I'm like, oh, it's just waste. The whole thing is wasted. It's just a waste.
Yeah. Right. So it's like, is Love is love enough? No, there's a responsibility that's also needed to not waste it, to instead, cultivate's a good word.
Yeah, or like commit from discard. Because humanity left on its own course, natural course of being, without any commitment to truth, will always discard love. I know that sounds sinister, but that's just like the nature of humanity.
I mean, that's what history has shown, that's for sure.
If you don't commit to love and then do the due diligence and the work necessary to have it be there, it will only push it away. That's the key. Push it away. It is always there, but we actively working around and for the purpose of pushing it away.
Mm.
Right. Instead, like, we think that like we're on the quest to search for it, but we're actually on the quest to push it away, to fuck it. Which is like, right, having to have that recognition right now and go back into myself as a child. I think there's like this like tremendous need for healing that needs to be done. How devastated I feel as a child when I come to form this opinion. But my thought process was, right, like, yeah, you know what the statement is love. I'm afraid that the love is not enough. And that is probably the answer is it's not, if you don't cultivate it, commit to it, and be responsible for propagating your truth.
Right. And that's, I mean, while that applies in a romantic love situation, I think that just applies in every human to human situation, period.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just like a universal truth.
Yeah. 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 But like, think about how devastated it is.
Human to anything, human to your dog, human to your house, your yard, your car, your country, your people, your everything. It's just, everything can be done with love or can be done against or without, or
well, like with recognition of love.
Just, yeah, it can be done with love, with the recognition of love, or it can be done in a different manner.
Yeah, like, like Buddhism teachings is kind of the essence of the cultivation of this, right? The cultivation of compassion in Buddhism is to see everything through its true lens,
mm-hmm.
right? The goal of Buddhism is to I don't know, I'm sure they have a term for it that they use, but it's basically to discard the layers of bullshit, which is the personalized lies that are like, are they called samsaras, or is that Hinduism? I don't know if samsaras is the word, but basically like fake stories and fake lies that try to make each situation something, whatever it is. It doesn't even matter, whatever three-dimensional nonsense that we decide to make it, and instead just see it as love. Do you see what I mean? Like, we're not wired for that concept unless you start to become aware that that is what you're doing. That each action into the world is actually you pushing away love, as opposed to somehow you think searching for it. Which is like, it is like, to me, it is so unequivocally true, but yet like completely missed by us all the time.
Right. And one of those truths that's I mean, it's in your face, but it's easy to ignore somehow.
Because the heart is closed. You can't even see the love of the heart is always closed. Right? But like if the heart is open, right? If you are able to tune into the frequency of the heart is open, we can reference like together, our souls gave us the most amazing experience of basically having our hearts completely open at the same time. For like 10 to 15 minutes. It was like the most magical and transformative experience of our lives. And though we can reference both together. So now when we have these discussions, we know where to go and how it felt.
Right.
Right. Nothing in that moment, every single moment, every step we took, every building we saw, every tree we saw, every human being that we passed by in the 10 to 15 minutes was not love.
Was not love?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like everything that we saw was not love. Like
not love? Was love?
It was love, but it couldn't have been branded as not love. Is that what I'm saying?
It was love. There was no lack of love anywhere in that moment.
No, everything.
To me, everything was perfect. Even the things that like objectively before or after, you'd be like, well, okay, well, there's a crack in that window or there's that. In that moment, everything was just so perfectly beautiful. It was.
But what I'm saying is, you couldn't not brand things as not love.
Couldn't not. Try again without all the knots.
For you to be at the human level of base state of vibration, when you see the world through the lens of not.
Okay.
When you would look at that, you couldn't say that that's not love.
So you would say that it is love?
Yeah, but it's different.
Okay.
You couldn't say that that is not love.
Yeah.
Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
Like
all the negatives are confusing, but yeah.
Quite literally, everything in existence is this overabundant, overflowing beauty and love.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that we're doing as human beings is walking around going, that's not love, and that's not love, and that's not love, and that's not love.
But during that time,
you couldn't say that.
You couldn't do that.
You could not say that that's not love. That is different than to say that everything is love, and then we were interpreting everything as love.
Right. That veil of everything's not love was lifted.
Yeah, but you did not see everything as love. From the human standpoint, what you were doing is you were finally seeing things as they are, and you couldn't say, "Oh, that's not love."
Right. Yeah.
Does that there's a big difference in that interpretation?
Yeah. You're no longer able to
call things
falsely say that's not love. That's not love. That's not love.
Yes.
Which is what we do all day, every day.
Yeah, and that is very different than to say that everything is love.
Right. Instead of acknowledging that it is, we were no longer denying that it isn't.
Yes.
We were. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see what I mean? We saw through our own lies.
Mm-hmm.
Like the filter that caused our lives to be in place was like lifted. The veil. The veil is the filter that causes you to not see through your own lies. That's what the veil is.
I've had a couple of these transcendental moments in my life. That was the longest, and I'm so glad that it was shared with someone and that we could both talk about. That was something. But everything is so clear. Everything makes sense. It's like I feel like I understand everything, and everything makes sense. Everything is so clear.
It's clear because it is true.
Right. And then, right afterward, it's not unlike being on mushrooms, because it's like on mushrooms, it's like, oh my gosh, there's no time and space. And that is so obvious that nothing you could say would convince me otherwise. Yeah, and then afterward, I'm like,
this is much more beautiful.
But what about this space? And what about that time? And but it's so viscerally clear. Maybe the food was laced with something. I don't know.
I don't know what it was laced with. I have no idea. But yeah,
I need to give me some of that.
And there was no side effects.
But no side effects. It was just beautiful. It was just
like
beautiful.
pure euphoria.
We're just going for a walk after dinner, and everything's just.
Maybe they did lace her food. I thought it was just a gift from the universe.
I'm sure it was.
But yeah, maybe the gift universe comes in the form of lacing. Because we have been hurt, and all of us have been hurt in different ways, right? And different stories. Like we all have our own little curriculum story on earth of how we have been hurt. And that hurt basically has set in unprocessed, right? And then the armor and the moats and the protection mechanisms that we have that keep our heart closed is being justified by all the ways the universe or the world or the people have hurt us, right?
Right.
And because we do not want to admit to and recognize and see through the pain that we're still carrying, right? Because we're not willing to admit to the vulnerability and the pain and just say, yeah, fuck, I was hurt and I'm still hurt and my body still hurts and adult is hurt and the child is hurt and everything hurts. And, there's that. Because we're not even willing to do that, just like that rudimentary admittance to it, much less give it space to the child to heal and then give space to adult to heal. And then you don't have to hold anyone responsible. You just have to admit that you're hurt. We design this moat of lies in order to continue to function with a closed heart, right? And the closed heart then is the veil. That's what I wanted to say, I guess, when we were having the thought. The veil is to see things differently than how they are. Like if outside of the veils, everything is love and bliss and ecstasy and just overwhelming experience of specialness, we can't allow ourselves to see that if we want to hold on to all the pains and blames and judgments that we have upon the world.
Right.
Because if that veil is lifted, then it trickles down into all of these stories and they quite literally dissolve.
Right. But all that pain and blame and whatever is the fortress.
Yeah. But the fortress will dissolve if you allow this admittance of, yeah, I was hurt and there's no one to blame. That's just my story. And it's my story that I have propagated. But what does that story, what has become the result of those stories? And now you can go, oh yeah, well, I have this beautiful fortress with all these layers. And then
really nice moat.
Yeah. But when you see that the only things that your stories so far have brought into this earth is your fortress, you can kind of like then make a judgment call. Well, nothing can get past it. That's the whole point of it. Like this love outside of this veil, right? The Kabbalion veil of being, or just like, veil in the religious teachings or whatever you want to call it, is keeping the truth out. So your castle life is pretty much your castle life. You have your peasants, and you have your pigs, and you have your archers, and you have your sharks, and whatever. But it's your own little island, moated up, that is your pains and stories and excuses and all the reasons why you can't be yourselves, on all the reasons why vulnerability is not an option, and all the reasons why this moat needs to exist and the bridge needs to be up, because God forbid. That's it.
Right.
The entire life is just the creation of this castle structure. But the scary part is you have lived in the castle for so long that you don't even know if you're capable of lowering the moat and, lifting the gates,
right.
And opening this door and that door and unlocking the chastity belt and all of that.
Yeah. It turns out the castles are drafty.
Yeah, but this is an interesting metaphor extension. Are we willing to bring down our own castles?
Right. In the name of the, I don't know, greater good's the right
No,
word, but like
in the
name of
name
love.
of choosing truth. That's what it comes down to. Are we willing, if we truly want love, like if we actually want love, like just maybe like ask ourselves, if the love that we think that we want, that we spend our entire life thinking that we don't have, if we actually wanted, can that love be reached inside these castle walls? And the truth is no, because like the design of this castle is, please do not show me all the love that exists out there in the world.
Right.
So then what work, what commitment, what facilitation of personal responsibility are we willing to take to bring this castle down? Right? Like Frozen style, to let the people in, let the light in, open the curtains and, all that. Like, Frozen is kind of like this. And open our heart. So then the love that is actually out there, already existing, can just be interpreted, not created and found, just interpreted, because we're refusing to interpret world as love. Like, if it's that simple, and it is, then like just a personal responsibility of how much work are you willing to do?
I mean, I think it just boils down to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess, the part that I have been struggling with all my life is that it saddens me that people don't want the responsibility. Because the game inside the castle is better than the truth on the outside.
They think it is.
No, I think it is. They think it is. Well, they choose it. They choose the game inside. Right. Like, it's interesting because, like, in that case, I'm kind of going to deviate into like the part that saddens me more so than the solution, because I guess we offered the solution. The reason why it saddens me is because it's actually not that complicated, and it very much comes down to on the choice that your soul has come to experience on earth, right? And then the question then goes into how many people are still here to continue to choose to experience their personal self-selected stories of lies, of lesser thans, than to let down the castle walls and actually experience love, right? And that's actually the question. Like, that's actually the truth, besides me being saddened about it. And then, as a child, because I did not understand that, it just made me sad and sad and sad, because that was not my curriculum on earth. Well, it was my curriculum to know that about earth, and then to go about all the ways that people made that happen in order to, in retrospect, go back to a curriculum outside of that and then be able to bridge that gap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, for the longest time, I was just so sad that there's all of these choices. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I think if you spend too much time experiencing endless love, it's kind of like I said this before in the podcast, it is kind of like devastating to see everybody else not. And if you don't understand that you came here for the purpose of two and then not, and then back to two, then like, it's really difficult to live in that knowing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like wolf style, right? Like, you just don't, it's hard to make it.
Right.
So yeah, so my child, I think the healing that came out of this dream and this conversation, and the reason why it felt so devastating, is because like now I'm giving the child healing space to recognize the devastation I felt when I realized that love cannot be here on earth. Yeah. So
Ending on a high note.
What?
Ending on a high note.
No. But this is the important part, because right now we're evaluating our entire arc over your entire lifetime and possibly even past lives, right? It is important to provide the healing to the set of circumstances, and in this case, the child that came to understand something and has locked it in his mind as a story forward. Do you see what I mean? Now, as an adult, I can go, oh, well, curriculum reversed. You come here, you pretend to not feel love, and you're going to spend your entire life chasing something that you think you don't have because you have created all of these stories and scenarios where you're pretending like you don't have something, right? That's the whole point of Earth. But like as an adult, I can actualize in that. But right now, the important part is I have to go into the child that felt the devastation of not knowing this part as an adult, but feeling the weight of Earth not being there at the status quo of love.
Right. I mean, it's the combination of, the feelings from childhood with the maturity of adulthood.
Yeah, but I have to give the child healing space. The devastation that I felt in this dream when I woke up was the devastation of how the child felt when the child realized that the love is not enough if everybody came here for the game of not love. Even though they pretend like they came here for the game of love.
Right.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't realize the Earth as a curriculum and you're just participating in Earth and you see, oh my gosh, look, everyone's rejecting love for the selection of personal castles and stories and pain bodies and shadows and all the lies that we don't admit to ourselves, then you're like, damn, that is fucking devastating.
Right.
Like it was earth crushing type of experience.
Right. You're sitting there with, with the treasure buried right next to you, and you're just like, don't see it. Almost.
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah. You purposely refuse it. The refusing it. That was the one I realized. Is that it's all there and everybody's choosing to have this lens, this veil of why it's while it's not, and also why it's not. Justifying of why they don't see it. Like, oh, right. The truth is it's like right here, like everything is right here. Like there's not love, right? But like you have to have all kinds of stories and excuses of why you're going to be searching your life for something, right? You're going to be good enough. You're not going to be bad. You're going to be loved. You're going to be safe. You're going to be, I don't know what, right? But that story feels really exciting. And it was devastating to me to realize, oh my gosh, everyone's choosing the story of lesser than, and they're going to spend the entire time on Earth playing this game, pretending like they don't have love. And then as a child, you have nowhere to go than to start to participate in that game. That was devastating to me. It's like, oh shit, like I will not feel the love that I know is out there. And like there's no way to participate on Earth for me. At the time, I did not know that there was a way not to start to participate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll have to give that space to myself right now and maybe cry it out and whatever the child needs to do in order to recognize how much pain I felt about that circumstance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hence dream healing.
Dream healing.
Yeah. No, I'm very grateful for my dream healings because like they bring in these topics.
Better than happening in real life.
No, but right, like if it wasn't for this dream and me being able to dissect this and uncover this, we're not having this conversation.
Right.
And I'm definitely not going into that space.
It's still a thing. It's just not brought to awareness.
Oh yeah, right. The devastation that I felt this morning when I woke up and realized, oh, the love, basically what you said, love is not enough.
Yeah.
Was like, it was actually a definition that I derived from as a child,
Right.
not being able to explain, and felt it, and then was propagating it forward, not even reevaluating
Right.
it under the new light.
That devastation at some level has always been there. It's just now you have an acute sense of it, and and you're very aware of it right now. Yeah.
But that's willingness to admit to truth, right? The truth is admitting to the fact that the child within me feels devastated and wants to cry and feel vulnerable. The fact that I have experienced Earth in pretending like there's no such thing as love, right? Or basically thinking that any kind of special love is actually not enough to trickle down and bypass the nonsense of three-dimensionality. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Right. And so if that doesn't come forward to the truth, then I'm continuing to live a story that is a lie. Because a child cannot formulate the understanding outside of that. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.